Hello and welcome back to the Off-Grid family. Right, today is the one I talk about me and how broken I am. This is a bit of a weird one for me because I'm not sure how it will go. I'm not sure how I'll feel about saying all this stuff, but it needs to be said so you guys can understand why it's been so intermittent with uploading and so on and so on. I'll start way back at the beginning. When I was about 11, I started getting leg pain that travelled from my sort of pelvis all the way down to my ankles. I'd sometimes get it up in my arms as well. There's been times in my life where people have had to feed me because my arms just haven't worked. And it's been quite a hard sort of time. You know, I'm in no way worse off than other people in the world. It's just, this is about me. But yeah, I went to and from doctors constantly throughout my adolescence. As I grew up, I'd go back, they'd just give me pain management stuff, and I'd go to different pain management groups that could dealing with pain, etc, etc. I was then diagnosed with fibromyalgia, which is sort of a neurological thing where basically your nerves are super stimulated. So when you feel a pain, it radiates to other nerves, and they all sort of set off alarm bells. That's the easiest way to describe it, I think. Slightly not quite right, but close enough. That not only affects your nerves, but it affects your brain as well, which is very weird. And you sort of have these sort of fog days where you just get this mental fog, and it's very hard to talk, very hard to understand. I don't get as much of that as I used to. I used to have very, very bad bouts where I was just like, incommunicado, people would be talking to me and I'd be like, you know what, I'm not listening, I've got no idea what you're talking about. And not in a nasty way, but I just didn't understand, you know. Almost like auditory dyslexia. You just couldn't quite keep up with what people were saying. My pain got worse and worse as I grew up. I went from being extremely athletic. I loved running, I played football, I played rugby for quite a substantial team back in my day, all that sort of stuff, and I went from doing all that to very little. I'd still walk a lot because I found that sometimes that helped, and later on I found out that with fibromyalgia, that is one of the cures, is to walk a lot. But my pain changed and it got worse, and walking didn't help anymore, and I was diagnosed with arthritis. They're still not quite sure which one. There's lots of inflammatory markers in my blood, meaning that there's something going on, but they're not sure where or why or what. My family, unfortunately, is prone to different arthritises that are very hard to find. And once they're found, normally around this age, they find it and they're like, this is the one you've had. Seronegative is one that's quite often in our family. But trying to get any help with this has been very difficult. I've been sent from one doctor to another, and then forgotten about and sent to one doctor and another, and so on. So it was, it's been a bit frustrating. But anyway, about 3 or 4 years ago, I was walking the kids to school, back when I still could, and I stepped off the curb and my hip just completely dislocated. It popped straight back in, but I was in quite a bit of pain, and from then on it would happen all the time. If I'd stop thinking about walking, and I know this sounds really strange, but if I'd stop thinking about what I was doing specifically for walking, my hips would just pop out and I'd be in agony. They'd always pop straight back in, and luckily enough they never took anything back in with them. The odd nerve, but there's other things on a man that can go back in that I'm assuming is a lot worse. So I had to stop walking, like almost entirely. I'd walk around the house as best I could, but I found that slowly over time I was having to use crutches to walk because I couldn't walk at all. Now, when I'm doing these videos, what you'll notice is I'm virtually dead on still, and that's because I can stand up. As long as I don't move left or right too much, I can stand where I am. It's when I then start trying to move. That's when my problem is, but my feet go numb and all sorts. It's bazonkas. But I then went and saw a new doctor, and I said, look, now my hips are dislocating. This is ridiculous. I've been diagnosed with this, but now my hips are dislocating. Surely it's one thing that's causing all the other stuff. And he was like, well, yeah, it could be, I suppose, And they took me for an x-ray, the first x-ray they'd ever done on my legs. And bear in mind, this has been going on since I was 11 years old. And they did a hip x-ray, pelvic x-ray. They found that my pelvis had basically crumbled as if I'd been hit by a car. They said it looked like a car had hit into me and driven off, kind of styly. They normally see that in hit and run injuries. I haven't been hit by a car. I think I'd remember, unless they hit me on the head, I suppose. And they also found that I had hip dysplasia, something that's normally attributed to women. It's like breast cancer is normally attributed to women, but men can get it. That kind of thing. It's more rare in men, but men get it. And what that means is my ball and socket joint, it's either the ball is too big for the socket or the socket's too deformed, whatever. I got both. So my socket isn't quite in the right place, and the ball is it's too shallow for the ball, so it just pops out all the time. So it's just like it's already only hanging on by a thread. Now on my left side, it's even worse than that. The whole area is broken, and I've grown something called a sprue, which is I describe it like a spare finger. It's just a piece of metal, a piece of bone that pokes out, and that sort of has jabbed into my soft tissue. But what it's actually done is it's hooked my hip into place. So over the last year, my hips popped out less, but the pain's been worse. Because, believe it or not, my body's sort of grown a hand to hold on to the hip. So it's not popping out all the time, but it is absolute agony. 2 years ago, maybe 3, I was told I'd need double hip replacement and they'd need to do something to my pelvis. They're not quite sure what they need to do yet. They are planning what to do, they were planning what to do. And they were coming up with different ideas of how to sort of solve this problem. And it was a year before the coronavirus. They said, we're taking you in for emergency surgery, or we're taking you in for, not emergency, but, we need to get you into surgery as soon as, to sort your hip out. And we're gonna then sort of investigate what we can do with the pelvis, and we sort of make it up as we go along, but, we got a few ideas. I was fine with that. But the operation getting delayed, and then the coronavirus happened. And because of that, obviously, there's been no surgeries, and to be honest, there's so much other stuff going on in the world. I can survive in pain. Some people are literally dying, so I'd rather them have access to medication and, care, more so than me. That is not what, I'm not complaining in any way, to be honest. But what that's left me with is we're now on, I think, year 3 or year 2 past I was supposed to be having my hips done. And this has caused me to be in a lot more pain on a daily basis. My health is suffering anyway because I'm not moving as much. I've started dieting because I just needed to lose some weight, because obviously not moving, I'm still eating the same food as I was. My weight was quickly getting worse and worse. So I've started dieting to help that situation. But I need to get this operation done so I can get on. Now, I'll tell you some of the little tips and tricks after I get back. Now, I wouldn't normally show you my secret cuts, because I'm so good at this editing malarkey. But that was all I could do. I needed to go and sit down. That was the end of my chatting. Sometimes that's the end for the day. Sometimes it's the end for an hour. Today it's about 25 minutes and I'm back because I'm awesome. But the secrets that you guys don't see are the things about all the help I get on my videos. George and Crystal tend to be the majority of my heavy lifters, and Lily tends to be my little prop girl. She'll help me with bits and bobs. But without them, I couldn't have done the last probably 100 videos. I can't lift heavy things anymore. I can't move certain things. I can't move in certain ways. I can't bend over certain objects, things like that. So they become my hands and so on. But you never see that because it was something that I spoke to Crystal about, and we didn't want anyone to know. That's not correct. But it's not for you guys to worry, if you know what I mean. It's not for you guys to watch me and go, oh, poor him, or that kind of rubbish. I just wanted to get content out for you guys without it being, you didn't have to think about anything else. It was just about the content. Who cares about who's making it? It's just, I want to watch a YouTube video. So I didn't want that to come across. I didn't want my pain to come across. There's been plenty of times when I've had to stop recording. You guys have never seen this, where I've stopped recording because I'm in absolute agony, and it could be months after that I come back to it. And the problem is, having this blinking thing means, or growing my hair stupidly long, that when I do that, it's now noticeable. You know, I was going from shaved head to full beard to full hair, you know. But I thought I'd bring this video out to show you that it's not just out of laziness. I'm not recording all the time and so on. And I'm hoping that after I get these operations, I can get back to this and I can really, you know, get some decent content out. It'd be a nice change, wouldn't it? Yeah, get some content out that's, you know, a bit more like I used to do. Get a bit of welding done or whatever. But this video is just a catch you up on where I am and what I'm doing. In my next video, I'm going to be making myself a mobility scooter. I say making. I'm going to be fixing one. It doesn't work at all. And I'm going to fix it up, and I'm going to call it my old fart cart because I'm an old man now and I deserve one. It just means I can get out a bit more, because that is one thing I've missed, is outside. I've been out 3 times since lockdown. When we went into lockdown 2-3 months before everyone else. I've been out now dropping the kids off in the car 3 times. So in the last 2 weeks, I've been out more than I did for over a year. It just got too difficult for me to do. I'm not complaining. There's people who live like that all the time and have no choice. So yeah, I just wanted you guys to understand. When I say guys, I mean guys and girls. Guys is my colloquial term for everyone. I just want you guys to know that it's not through lack of wanting to do this. I love making videos, but it's just been too difficult at the moment. But I'm trying to push myself. I've put certain things in place to try and hopefully make it a bit easier to make videos. But we'll see, you know. But I just want you to know, you know, I am still here. I'd love it if you guys all subscribed and, you know, kept watching the videos even if they're awful. Come on, you've watched them this long and they're awful. You might as well watch the rest of them too. And I'll just take you on the journey. I will do documented versions of, you know, going in to have my operation when and if it ever happens. So you guys can be with me on that and, you know, you can see how it is. Anyone who's having any hip surgery and stuff, it would be good for you guys to be able to see from the inside kind of styly as well. But we'll see. Anyway, I hope this video was okay. It seems a bit bazonkers, I know, but I needed to say it just so you guys understood that it's not, you know, it's not laziness that's stopping me doing this. And I will hopefully have a video out very soon. Thanks for watching. I'll see you again soon. Bye for now.